This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Welcome to the research talks here on Stockbox with Alan Green. Alan, good to speak to you again. You doing okay?
I'm fine, thanks, Mark. Yes, ahead of a fine bank holiday weekend, which I'm very much looking forward to, and we're off up to the MotoGP at Silverstone. So,
oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, it was a bit of a last-minute decision. So we booked this week, and we're not staying in a hotel or anything like that. We're actually camping in an area called the noisy section, which I'm not sure I'm too looking forward to really. But we're staying Saturday night, so we're going tomorrow on the bikes and just it'll be Valentino Rossi's last season. So it'll be a huge amount of fans wants to sort of wish him all the best, and of course the British rider Kel Crutchlow will be out on a factory bike as well. So that's his home circuit. So we'll be rooting for him.
Okay, well that sounds fun. I hope the weather is good for you. There's nothing worse, I don't think, than camping when it's wet. It's nice to sleep when you hear the rain pattering on the outside of the tent, but it's not so nice in the morning when you've got to get up and deal with it. So.
Well, so long as you're warm and dry, that's the main thing.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, and touch wood, I don't think it is going to rain. I think the weather the outlook's fairly good, but it is quite cold. It's you really, even though it's August still, end of August, it does feel autumnal in the evenings already. So. And all that, and we haven't really had a summer to speak of, but there we go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, well let's get on with our task in hand, which is to talk today about AIS Resources, Australian focused company for most of the time, and Destiny Pharma, who we have spoken about before, who did very well actually. But you're going to give us an update on Destiny, so you want to take AIS first?
Let's start with AIS. Yes, indeed. So of course, we spoke about TSX-listed AIS a few months back, I think, and they were progressing a number of gold projects in Australia. And of course, we have talked at length about the Victoria goldfields, the huge potential there, the geology that lends itself to gold production, and AIS are a TSX-listed company. So of course, you can trade TSX companies or TSX listed companies. You simply have to complete with your broker. You have to complete a document. It does have a name, I believe, but it's a straightforward process. But this company will give you exposure to 3 quality gold projects in southern Australia, as well as, of course, a lithium project in South America in Argentina. So onto the company first of all. The company is currently trading at 65 cents a share, has traded as high as 85 cents a share and as low as 55. So price action has been very static, really. There's not been a huge amount of action, but the company has a market cap of probably about it's just under $11 million. So that's probably about 7 or 8 million sterling. So it's a tiny company, and considering the assets this company has, I think I don't think it's going to be at this level for very long, particularly the progress they've made this year. So, as I say, principally in Australia, there are 3 projects. There is the Fosterville-Talleen gold project, and this is basically 12 kilometers east of Kirkland Lake Gold's Fosterville mine. And of course, we've also spoken about other projects owned by other companies, ECR Minerals being one, which are adjacent to or close to the Fosterville gold mine. And the Fosterville mine is prolific. It's probably one of the most successful gold mines in the world, and indeed in Q2 this year, 2021, produced 157,993 ounces of gold, and that's at 28 grams per 28 grams per ton. So those sort of numbers, if you go over the numbers that have been discovered at other finds in the area, some of those numbers are higher and some are lower, but it just I think graphically demonstrates the prospectivity of the Victoria Goldfields as a whole. And of course, with Fosterville being so successful, the focus for AIS on the Fosterville Tolling Gold Project is understandable. And indeed, in May this year, the company started drilling. So it undertook initially 20 holes, which went up to 31 holes in total across an area, and intercepted gold in holes 27 to 31. And we've heard from indeed Adam Jones, the geologist at ECR Minerals, referred to these mineral chutes that are typical of the geology in the area. And indeed, Dennis Walsh, the geologist for AIS Resources, referred to these mineral chutes. And again, they're identifying gold strata there, similar. The geology is very similar to that in the immediate area where the Fosterville mine is situated. So that, of course, is very encouraging. These mineral chutes are estimated to be 2 to 30 meters wide. So I think when you calculate back and you look at the size of it and then work back on the grams per ton, you can get some idea of the sort of value in these holes. So it's progressed, and the latest announcement from the company was a few days back on August 11th, when the company reported elevated antimony levels in the eastern section of the Fosterville Tolling license area. And this is noteworthy again because obviously what the company is trying to do is to prove up the geology matches the producing Fosterville mine as close as possible. So the elevated antimony levels were noted to be, quote unquote, the biggest pathfinder element for the Fosterville mine, and this is at 510 parts per million. So of course it's key because it means that in comparison, the Fosterville Tolling license area is moving forward and producing data that almost mirrors that was initially discovered in the run up to building the Fosterville gold mine. So very exciting progress from there. Obviously, the drilling work continues. The company raised some $843,000 in a placing. That was a private placing. That was announced at the start of July. It closed that placing out, issued 1 share and 1 warrant to all the investors that participated in that. So that's the Fosterville Tolling project. We then have the Yalgagrin gold project, and that's in West Wyolong in New South Wales, so a little further away. And this area, it's called the West Wyolong Gold Corridor, produced some 446,000 ounces of gold between the late 19th and early 20th century. And indeed, a number of mines operating in the area. So you've got the Cadia Newcrest mine, 220 kilometers to the northwest, which is producing 900,000 ounces of gold a year. The Lake Cowell gold mine is 40 kilometers away, and that was purchased recently by Evolution. North Parks mine, northeast of the area, and then the Thompson and the areas around the Yalgagrin gold project license area is staked completely by Thompson Resources all around. So if you like, the AIS license area is smack bang in the middle of what's obviously a very valuable area. The company has progressed Yalgagrin so far this year. In April, the first drill hole returned an average of 1.5 grams per ton over 87 meters, and in fact one sample taken over just under a meter was 9.5 grams per ton. So extensive gold mineralization was noted there, and indeed in July, the company provided an update on all 3 of the gold projects in the region, said that the area had been diamond drilled to 183 meters. It now had 70 core samples which had gone to the labs, and obviously the company will be reporting back on those on the assay results at some point in the not too distant future. So we then have the Kingston Gold Project, which is the last one of three, and this is northwest Stawell, Australia, and it's a drill-ready property previously explored by BHP Billiton and WMC Mining, and it's also adjacent to ASX-listed Navarre Minerals, a property owned by Navarre Minerals, which has already drilled its own property, noted 29.5 grams per tonne of gold over a 3.1 metre section down 65 metres. So very encouraging, obviously extensive mineralisation there. So, I think there are three quality projects here, but obviously the primary focus, I think, for the company at the moment is the Tilleen-Fosterville Gold Project. We then come to an announcement the company made in March, where it had acquired a 20% interest in the Tech One Lithium Resources Corporation Incahuasi Lithium project in Argentina. Now, this is noteworthy because it's next to the Ganfeng and Orocobre lithium producers in what's called the Lithium Triangle. And the company said then that exploration in the area will be starting on April the 1st. Now, those who listen to the podcast regularly will know that I reported on a company called Spey Resources, and of course, Spey has entered into an agreement to acquire the project, and of course, all through this, AIS Resources retains a 20% interest. Announcement on July the 20th, Spey Resources had engaged Amaru Mining to drill 5 holes within at the Incahuasi lithium project, and of course, lithium needs no introduction. Neither does the price action the metal has generated this year. It's hugely in demand to power the new battery-driven economy, and of course the electric vehicles that are included in that. Just to note, with AIS Resources on the board, Philip Thomas is the CEO, and he's really the driving force behind this. Formerly worked for Admiralty Resources and also the Nazca San Pedro mine in Peru. Other projects he's worked on include the Secret Pass Tin Cup gold mine, fantastic, in Arizona, and the IRL Peru gold mine run by Aristar Resources. Also, I've already mentioned the head geologist there, Dennis Walsh. Dennis, of course, worked formerly for Kirkland Lake Gold, the owners and operators of the Fosterville mine. So he is intimately acquainted with the geology in the area, and that's why commentary from him is so meaningful as they take the Tilleen Gold project forward. But given where as I mentioned, the price action at the start, I mean, the company, I think price action at the moment just reflects the general malaise in the junior mining sector. But any movement in the gold price, or indeed any developments, I think, from Tilleen are going to see this company revalued fairly smartly. I would imagine certainly by the end of the year, anyway.
There's certainly a lot going on, isn't there, in the company? And I've done a few special features. You mentioned the CEO there, Phil Thomas, and I think I've done maybe 4 special features with him, and they're very, very good, actually. He does a very good job of explaining what the projects are, what the stage they're at, what the geology is looking like, what the exploration is, and he does it in such a way, he doesn't come across sort of overly enthusiastic or, really buoyant, but he does it in a very sort of calm, measured, and really believable way. And I think that just listening to him, you believe what he's saying, and you can tell that he just knows what he's talking about, and he's not being sort of over rampy, for example, or just not coming across well. He just hits it straight down the middle, and I think they're really good to watch. To every one that I have done has really made me think, oh, that's a good project. Well, there's another good project. So and they've got 3 or 4 good-looking projects there, at interesting stages as well. So I'm quite impressed with them.
Well, they have. I think it's also worth going to the website. And again, I think the mark of any company's potential is how good the website is, and AIS is no exception in that regard. There's a very detailed summary of all the projects, very good looking website. But also, if you go to management directors, the Phil Thomas's bio is covered in detail there, and also the chairman, of course, Martin Element, who's has a great track record in the public financial markets, going back to the mid late 80s. So he's a vast amount of experience on the ground here, but also a very detailed explanation on the website of the geology, the background, the history of the projects, and also where the company are now. So I think it's at a very exciting juncture, and certainly at these levels, close to multi-year lows. I think it's in bargain territory. But that's just my opinion.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about another company then. That's Destiny Pharma. And what have they been up to recently, Alan? Because they did have some significant developments earlier on in the year, didn't they?
Yeah, indeed. So Destiny Pharma are the company that I'm very familiar with. Obviously, we're based at the Sussex Innovation Centre at Sussex University campus, and of course, Destiny Pharma have been a tenant, just as I have been in one way, shape or form for the past 20 years. Destiny Pharma have been there also. And the founder of the company, Dr. William Love, has been working at the centre for as long as I have. So, I sort of know him sort of quite well to speak to. And, of course, the company evolved, and its core offering is based around the XF series of light-activated antibacterial drugs that combat superbugs in hospitals, such as MRSA. And the story of the development of the XF, their flagship drug, which is the XF73 treatment, and this has been developed as a nasal gel. It's undergone phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 clinical trials, and it's in the final phases at the moment, and has had a very exciting year. So currently the company's got a valuation of 71 million, came to AIM a few years ago, and the shares have traded as low as 47p. And indeed, if we look at the history of the company, well, when it first came to market, it touched as high as £2 a share, and it's come back since then. But certainly the past year has seen it regain a lot of those former highs. And the shares are drifting slightly now. I think, just a summer drift, which is quite normal. 71 million, and with the developments so far this year, I think we're set for a very busy second half. So XF73 has undergone an evolution on the global stage with presentations from the group and the board and the scientific officers at various conferences around the world. The most recent being at the EC. I'm just looking at my notes here. The ECCMID, that's the European Congress of Infectious Diseases, where XF73's phase 2B data was presented by the chief scientific officer, and that was announced back in June this year. So this has evolved. At the end of last year, the company raised 11.5 million at 65p. And it used that money to acquire the global rights for another stablemate. That's NTCD-M3, a phase 3 asset for the prevention of C. difficile, and of course C. difficile, MRSA. These are all infections and viruses that appear in similar environments, mostly hospitals. And NTCD-M3 is currently being prepped for phase 3 studies, and has already been fast-track designated by the US FDA, and it's been referred to as a very valuable late-stage asset. Indeed, that was taken further in July when the US Department of Veteran Affairs entered an R&D development agreement with Destiny Pharma to further NTCD-M3 to help it refine its planning for the phase 3 clinical trials. So both of these assets are in late phase 3 trials, and the latest news on the XF73 asset is that the phase 2B trial data showed that cardiac surgery patients that were treated with the XF73 nasal gel showed an impressive sustained nasal reduction of Staphylococcus aureus, which is the key Latin term, I believe, for MRSA and other hospital infections. So we're in the run-up now to the interims that are due to be announced on September the 9th. That's Thursday, September the 9th, a couple of Thursdays away. Another announcement that was made in September last year, which is also noteworthy, and that we should start to get some news on that, I think, at the interim results. September 20th last year, the company announced a joint venture with SporeGen to develop COVID-19 immunity. So at that point, it expected to commence first clinical trials within 18 months, and the biology and the technology behind this is using the innate human immune system to develop a drug that will develop this immunity. And again, the application is via nasal spray or nasal gel, and they've identified a system to develop and manufacture this, noting that it's easy to produce and can be produced at high volume at a very low cost, and it can work alone or with a vaccine too. On the back of that, the company received an 800,000 Innovate UK grant last year. Along with that, I think September the 9th could be a pretty key day for the company in regard to news and steps forward, both further steps on the XF73 and the C. difficile asset, NTCDM3, and also hopefully some news on the SporeGen development too. But either way, Destiny Pharma is poised for a very exciting Q3 or Q4 this year.
Okay. And September the 9th, what's key about that date, Alan?
It's the interim results announcement.
Okay.
So basically, we'll get the interim results today, but we'll also get a glimpse into the developments as a whole for the group overall, and how the group will be, progress on SporeGen, but I think most specifically how the XF73 and NTCDM3 assets are developing and the next phases for those. But I'm interested to hear about the SporeGen JV too, because that's been in the pipeline, for want of a better term, for a year now since it was first announced. So we should be due some news on that. Just a word on the board, of course. Neil Clark is the CEO, and Neil has featured on a number of podcasts and broadcasts and interviews, and articulates the investment case for the company very well. I've already mentioned Dr. Bill Love, and of course there are a host of scientific people there working at the Innovation Centre to progress the Destiny Pharma. Destiny Pharma's showcase of assets.
Okay, and do you still feel then, you said you're looking forward to the SporeGen, that's the COVID one, isn't it? The COVID targeted one.
Yeah, well, I think we're seeing COVID evolve and mutate. Of course, the Delta 19 variant and all the others that will no doubt be along. So something, a nasal spray or a gel that can be used to treat people or be given to people with or without the vaccine, to build up or continue to build up the immunity to COVID is it has got to be a very valuable thing indeed. And I think no one likes an injection. So ultimately, if a nasal gel can stimulate the human immune system to resist COVID, that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. So still relevant, really, is what I was getting at. And as
highly,
it was,
highly relevant.
When we spoke before,
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed on Destiny there. It has, it did do very well, didn't it? What did it top out at? Do you remember? Just looking back at the...
on the year, it topped out at 250 pence or 250p, but currently 120.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, it has sort of pushed up, and obviously we had a spike back in March as well. So the company's had a very good year, but pharma companies tend to do this on big data and results, and I think certainly at the start of the year there was the big run up into the phase 2B data for XF73, and the company remains on the right track.
Yeah, indeed. And just looking at the chart there, it looks like the past few months have been more sort of consolidation, which is nice. The peaks and troughs getting slightly narrower there. So yeah, you could be right there that looking forward into September for those results to sort of retest the highs, maybe.
Yeah, well, I think we saw a low of 113 pence at the end of July, didn't we? That's probably that's a 3 month low, and then since then, a couple of higher lows, and then just consolidation. So I wouldn't expect too much movement now between now and the 9th of September, but probably a good point to buy in at, because the company, well, the share price is showing plenty of resistance at this level, and obviously the company remains well funded following the fundraising last year.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Alan. There we covered Destiny Pharma and AIS Resources. And I hope your bank holiday weekend goes well and everyone listening has a nice bank holiday. It's the last one of the year, is it? Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, last bank holiday of the year. So, yes, so have a good bank holiday weekend, everyone. And yes, we'll catch up next week.
Catch up next week. Okay. And I hope the noisy section, I hope you managed to get some shut-eye.
Well, I think we'll have a few beers, but
I'm sure you will have some beers. Yeah,
but the idea is to be up early, because Silverstone is a huge circuit, so we'll have the old walking boots on and just walk around. But we've got seats in the grandstand, which are good. So at Abbey, so that's a great place to watch. So yeah, very excited about it.
Sounds fun. Well, thank you very much, Alan, and we'll speak again soon.
Thanks, Mark. All the best.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.